Hey guys, coming at you again with another one of my take videos. This time I'm starting with the Western Conference playoff uh, rounds and the second round of their playoff series as well out west for the NBA playoffs. The first one I'll do is another one that had its game won yesterday as well too. In this case, the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets. Now this is the matchup everybody wanted to see in the next round in the conference finals all year long. But because of Houston's slow start, that's therefore why you are getting this matchup now here in this round instead. Now don't be deceived because Houston's the number 4 seed. They are a number 4 seed that should really be a number 2 seed. They are that good. They are that good. They have always been that good, and they were always that good in the regular season. They were just going through their defensive issues and their injury issues, and they had a lot of injury issues this year as well too, which is one of the reasons that greatly contributed as well to the fact that they only ended up finishing fourth, despite the fact that after the All-Star break, they actually have the best record in the NBA, and I believe it was 25-4 or something like that after the All-Star break. So after the All-Star break, they were the best team in the NBA, so I count that more than I do the actual record. So anyway, this is the first of those two matchups in the Western Conference second round semifinals out that way. Now, as promised, this series will be a great series, and again, this is another series that could go either way, flip flopping. This will go either way, flip flopping each way throughout the series. This will not the momentum shift in this series will be huge for each side in this series, and this is another series that I believe will also go 7 games as well too. It's that close. And again, with the Milwaukee and Boston series too, this is another series where you could have any one of those two teams beating each other in that series. It's that close because you got James Harden on one side and the historic year he put up, although he has not really shown up to that level yet as of yet in the playoffs. We're all still waiting for that to happen because we're all at some point it's going to happen at some point down the line. You would think versus KD and the Golden State Warriors. And meanwhile, this playoffs, KD is looking like James Harden in the regular season so far in the playoffs. This guy has been otherworldly. So much so that he has literally saved the Warriors' ass in these playoffs so far, for real, because Steph Curry and Klay Thompson both do not look 100%, and they were not 100% for sure in game one last night. And it showed because Steph Curry, although he also had foul trouble, was still limited to was it 18 or 14 points, but it was one of those numbers. And Klay Thompson, I believe, also only had 14 points in the game. So they were both very limited in that game, and it showed the whole game in that series. And it took Kevin Durant 35 points for them to pull out that and squeak out that game one victory. So usually you would pick the Warriors because they have the team over James Harden led Rockets, which are usually seen as the one-dimensional team or the one-man show team. But they were, but in this game, it kind of shaped up the other way around, where KD led the one-man crew, Golden State Warriors, and James Harden kind of led the more team-oriented attack in Houston. Because he did have Eric Gordon step up as well in this game for 27 points, and he did go 10 for 19 from the field, although he only went 4 for 13 from three-point range. So although he hit 4 threes, he could have been a little bit more efficient in that regard. And James Harden, although too actually, he did have 35 points in this game in that game one, but he was he was 9 for 28 from the field and horrendous from the 3-point line, I believe, in the game too. I don't know what exactly his 3-point numbers were, but they were not good. They were like 4 for 14 or 4 for 16, something like that in in the game. Although something noteworthy to talk about as well in that series, there were a lot of people talk about the way that James Harden is officiated, and I'm with you on this. There was a lot of plays where James Harden does tend to get away with some of his moves that are questionable. I'll be the first one to admit that with you too. But you know what? Golden State is the same way. That whole team, the refs always seem to be on their side too, though. For a lot of games, a lot of games, and they get a lot of calls going in their favor too. And refs, although they won't admit it, they definitely pick sides. There's no doubt they do. So this will be an interesting series in that regard too, because James Harden usually does get some respect on his side, but the Golden State Warriors get a lot of respect on the referees on their side as well. And it showed in game one because there were, I think, 3 or 4 plays in the first half where Clay Thompson was guarding James Harden. And yes, they were fouls on James Harden, and they were not called. So I can see where Houston's a little upset at the officiating in that game, but it doesn't matter. If you're going to win in the playoffs, you got to understand this. This is one of the reasons DeMar DeRozan has struggled in the playoffs too. You cannot let the officials get to you and get into your head and then let that affect your play. And they'll be the first to tell you that. And the Houston Rockets, or I suspect, were somewhat victims to that. They kind of let it get to their head a little bit, especially towards the end of that game, where they couldn't close out that game completely close that game up with the win that they probably should have had in that game one win, considering that they had Klay Thompson and Steph Curry both going for off nights in that game. So if there was a winnable game for Houston, it was game one for sure. But again, KD stepped up and saved the Raptors like he's done all playoffs so far. So this will be an interesting series. So this will be interesting to see. Can James Harden finally turn it on at some point, or will KD leave this team like he's done all playoffs past the Houston Rockets? This is hard to predict. You know what? Houston looked really, really, really good against the Jazz, and Golden State did look vulnerable against the Clippers. So coming into the series, you had a feeling that maybe Houston could maybe pull it out this year. But if James Harden is shooting like this, they will not pull it out. That's for sure. Because in order for Houston to pull it out, James Harden must do well in both the scoring department and he must shoot the ball well. And it's clear, although the Rockets are a formidable match for the Warriors, James Harden does struggle against the Golden State Warriors. They do seem to have some sort of answer from at least to a degree on James Harden. So oof, this is hard, but this is a hard prediction. But it's much closer than people might predict it to be because Houston's team around James Harden is much better than people give it credit for. I mean, Eric Gordon is Eric Gordon. He's been a former Sixth Man of the Year for multiple years. He's been in the league now. Although Lou Williams is the best Sixth Man in the league off the bench, Eric Gordon is definitely number 2 or 3. I'd say number 2 at the moment off the bench. I mean, and off the bench in the entire league, and he's been that way pretty much religiously for his entire although you could put Jamal Crawford into that discussion for some of the years as well. Not this year, but for some of the years. Although Jamal Crawford did finish off his career at the end of the year with that 50-point game, which kind of reminded everybody, hey, I'm Jamal Crawford, I'm here too. But that was really the only good game that he had that year. So I'd probably still give the edge in the second place running in the Sixth Man of the Year award race, still Eric Gordon. But the fact is, you have Eric Gordon, and of course, they still have CP3. I mean, say what you want about him, but this guy is an iron horse, and he is still one of the best point guards in the game. And he's always been an efficient playmaker. He's probably been one of the best playmaking point guards in the game for a long, long time now. Now he's a veteran, so that will help Houston as well. And then they have Clint Capella. Don't underestimate him. He is a big body that they can throw down there, and he might be able to have some success against the Warriors in this series because the Warriors really don't have that big of an answer, that much of an answer for him if you really think about it. Although Andrew Bogut is they could throw him at him, so he might be able to take him some of his stuff away. But although Andrew Bogut can be a good defender, I just feel like Clint Capella could also could find a way against him as well too. So don't underestimate him in this series. And then Houston's got some other decent pieces as well too. So it's a closer series than people give it credit for. So this is going to be a tough series to call. Now here's the thing: coming into this series, I would have predicted Houston to win this series. To be honest with you, because I know Golden State is Golden State, and general wisdom would tell you to take Golden State in almost every stat possible. But I just had a feeling this year, watching Houston play Golden State in the regular season and watching them play the Jazz and handle them like they did. I had a feeling Houston was good. I had, and I still have a feeling Houston may wake up in this series, and they're definitely hungry in this series. So I certainly don't underestimate that. But that's a this is tough. Oof. Because obviously you never want to bet against the Warriors because whenever you try to bet against the Warriors, they always make you pay, and then uh, so now that was my prediction coming into this series, but I'm wavering on that one a little bit, especially considering how Game One went and considering that Golden State does have the home court advantage in the series, so that could play up too. So I'll take Golden State in this series by a hair. It will be very close, and it will come down to the wire again. Same thing with the other series that I predicted before too. In the Eastern series with Milwaukee and Boston, that'll come down to the wire too. I'll take Golden State in seven because I don't want to bet against them, but Houston could. That's another series where Houston could also easily pull that out too. It could go that way too. It could very easily go that way too. And by the way, if I'm getting back to the Toronto Philadelphia series, I know I picked Toronto in 7 games, but after what I saw last night in that series, and Joel Embiid is clearly hobbled in that series, I can't say that's point seven anymore. I gotta readjust that pick too, and also say Toronto will probably end up finishing off Philadelphia. Frankly, it looks like it's 5 games. If Philly's not careful, it's going to be a 5 game series. Uh, really, I think, but it could go 6 games, but I just got a feeling it's going to be five now. I think I have to adjust that pick and also say for that series, Raptors in five as well too. So a bit of feedback to that series too. So anyway, there's that video. You guys can comment and give your feedback for this series down below as well as always. And you know, and that's that. All right. So my prediction in this series now is Golden State in seven over Houston, and they will get to the next round. Anyway.